Hey, yo, what's up? You with Budget Monk and welcome to a new video. This is my first EU5 video and I wanted to discuss my favorite nation and why they're my favorite nation as of right now from a noob's perspective. So I have less than 40 hours played in EU5. A lot of people have way more than that. They had access to the early access, which I didn't, and I'm still very much a noob, so keep that in mind and everything's going to change, I'm sure. But in terms of enjoyment playing the game, my favorite nation at the moment, which I'm looking forward to playing, is the Teutonic Order, and I wanted to explain why that is. So when it comes to most nations, like I initially played Hungary, I thought I'm a noob, I'll play a powerful nation. They are, of course, monarchies, guys, and they have rulers. It just so happens that, which is very kind of accurate, historically, the ruling class is very much associated with one another in this game. So, for example, Hungary starts with a personal union over Croatia, which is something you might expect, but this character has the Anjou dynasty, and you'll notice the similarity between the Hungarian flag at the beginning of the game and Naples' flag. That's because the Anjou dynasty rules in this nation as well, and there are many different mechanics, including trying to maintain your dominance and sort of reform with the personal union tab that comes up, as well as events associated with Hungary and Poland, which potentially will end you up in a personal union as an endeavor to PU them, as well as other events associated with your dynasty, and so on and so forth. The royal marriage game, the dynastic game. Now, if you try to play another nation, like I tried Brandenburg, for example, and I've tried actually started the game off stream as well. I know if you've been watching my streams, there are things that you didn't necessarily ask for. So, for example, you can see here that we are the von Wittelbach, if I said that correctly, probably not, dynasty. We're the son of the Holy Roman Empire, Emperor of the Wittelbach dynasty over here. And there are all these negative events and chains associated with your dynastic rule and so on. The Teutons, of course, are not a monarchy. So one thing I've been enjoying about them is actually, because I'm new to the game, is quite overwhelming. Taking a break from the dynastic stuff, a little bit more straightforward, it's actually a big win for me. So Teutons, let's talk Teutons, guys. If we open up the Catholic See, the Catholic Church here, you can see that there are three, it's actually color-coded, military orders down here. As you might expect, the Knights, the Livonian Order, and the Teutonic Order. The Livonian Order is actually a subject to the Teutons, so we are the strongest. Not a coincidence that I think the strongest is the coolest. Some people might think that's sort of lame, but if you've played the game, at least from my experience, the game's essentially feeling impossible right now for very weak nations. So we're at least, manageable. You can see, for example, I am running a deficit from the beginning of the game, and the game is quite challenging. With that being said, the monastic order here of the Teutons, we do have unique mechanics available to us. So those mechanics become available with Catholics when they're over 50 relations or over 100 relations. The only Catholic that's over 100 relations with us here is Bohemia. That's because we begin as an ally. And if I go to diplomacy and economic actions, we can actually see that we can request a military sponsorship. So this is a really cool mechanic that I like. You can see what it will do for us. The main thing is he will give us some income, and he'll actually spread the institutions, which will be relevant later, to our nation. So some institution spread. Really cool. And this only is available here. It would be grayed out otherwise. Due to us having over 100 relations. So what this allows you to do is to expand with diplomacy and max your diplomatic spending, which will help buy down their liberty desire, and it will generate a lot of diplomats. But what I often find is that you kind of want to skimp on this, guys, and make more money where you can, typically. If you do have a lot of subject play, you're actually going to have so many diplomats you don't really know what to do with. You might randomly start improving relations, but it can kind of feel that way. Well, the Teutons are always going to have things to do with their diplomats, essentially, because if you improve relations, which costs you 1, so the 5 will go down to 4, but then it also costs us 0.1 monthly diplomat, so for maintaining the relations to be improved. You always have that ability to ask for a military sponsorship when over 100 relations and to receive some monetary reward. Very cool. But there's another mechanic as well, which is actually a unique building that we have in production, which unlike most buildings are obviously built within our own territory, the order commandery is actually built within other nations. So I learned this actually from my chat by playing around with the game, and very cool. If we look at the order commandery, you can read it there at the top. It gives you +5 manpower and 0.1 gold. So it is just an investment for 50, which is just objectively nice to be built not inside of your country, but all around the Holy See. Now, with that being said, that can only be built if the nation, the target nation, has a 50 plus opinion of you. Again, really emphasizing the diplomatic significance of just spamming improved relations, so you can actually build almost like an embassy inside of their country, which is essentially supporting you with manpower. Very cool concept. I really like it. I've been having a lot of fun with the fact, like I said, you can ignore the dynastic aspect as well and just have some fun playing the Teutonic Order. So another little, significant thing is most nations, they have levies, and levies can be raised. This is essentially your army in the beginning of the game. The levies can be raised. I believe ours start raised. That's because we start at war. We'll address that in a second. They can be raised when you're at war or fighting rebel factions, but otherwise they actually don't really exist. So in the beginning of the game, you don't have just a regular standard army. Well, the Teutons actually do. Despite their kind of weaker nature, they're not as big as a nation like Hungary. We do start with regular troops as well, which is pretty cool, especially when you combine it with the fact that you can get manpower from the building that I mentioned. Because of the military nature of our nation, we start with a regular army, which is, pretty cool, and it's slightly unique compared to other nations. So for that reason, I'm really enjoying the Teutonic Order. I'm looking forward to streaming it. Make sure to catch my streams live if you're willing to do so. With that being said, there is kind of an issue with the Teutons, which is you start in a war. However, the Teutons are on the quote-unquote winning side of the war, and what I mean is that you do have more participants. So if we go to the war tab, we have about 5,000 versus about 13,000 enemies in total, meaning we're cooked. However, we are allied to Bohemia, who will join the war. We can call them in. Now, what will happen is that it's the Teutons versus Lithuania. He will call in Poland, okay? And it is a large war, but like I said, once you call in Bohemia and he raises his levies, as well as all of his various subjects here, you will have the advantage. What I recommend in terms of winning the war is to basically box your units and run away. Just run, stay alive, make sure you're focused on running. If the Polish, which is going to be the main military stack of the enemy, is following you, you're winning in the sense that they're being distracted, while the Bohemian stacks will be either crushing the enemies, sieging something down. So as long as you're distracting the Polish, you're going to be winning. And ultimately, if the Polish sit themselves on a fort, that is when I recommend taking your force and going around and taking every provincial capital represented by these flags that is not fortified. And this will gather a lot of war score against Poland specifically. So while he's distracted sieging you, you siege multiple non-fortified provinces. And finally, I think that is a castle there, is it? That's fortified. And then finally, after 12 months, you should be able to piece them out and you'll win the war. So with that being said, I'm going to be streaming this Teutonic Order. They're my favorite nation. I'm having the most fun and enjoyment playing them right now. I'm looking forward to playing EU5. I hope you enjoyed this video from a newbie perspective. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Make sure to join my Discord with the link down and notification down below in the description box if you guys want live notifications when I'm going live, as well as I plan hopefully to do Australasian-based multiplayer games in the future, and I want to recruit people, Australasian people, Australia, New Zealand, and so on, who would be willing to participate in those games.